Marvelous day for baseball here in Corvallis, Oregon. It's the first of a three-game set between the hosting Corvallis Knights and your Springfield Drifters. Drifters coming off of a three-game sweep of the Marionberries. It's their first series win of a year, and how good it felt. Back-to-back 2-1 victories in the first and second games of the series, respectively, before a decisive 6-5 victory last night. It's going to be a great game here between the Drifters and Corvallis. It's the WCL Game of the Week on the WCL streaming app. But I'm doing an away radio call, so hopefully you're going to stick around and hear my beautiful voice. Take a look at the lineups for both teams. We'll start off with the hosting Corvallis Knights. It'll be Max Medina up at the top in center field, followed by Joey Marasco in at the hot corner. In the three-hole is Maverick Russell. He's doing the DH duties today. The meat of the order is Ethan Porter, Zane Garvey, and Ryan Severns. And Severns is in the hot corner, Marasco is the shortstop. And then rounding out the bottom of the Knights order, it's Trey Swigart, Carter Stewart, and Tate Hammond, with Bryce Hill on the mound. Hill, an exciting prospect that I'm excited to talk more about later in the broadcast. But moving over on to the Drifters lineup, it'll be Cooper Mullins up at the top. What else is new? Tristan Jennings and Johnny Elliott in the 2 and 3 hole. Elliott doing the DH today, a late scratch from catcher. Nothing wrong, just a managerial decision to put Preston Armstrong behind the plate. He's in the 5 spot, but Colton Perez doing cleanup duty, followed by Armstrong. And then Peyton Tyner in the 6 hole, Melosi Mata Afa Alferos in the 7 hole. And then rounding out the order, Jacob Villapando at the hot corner and Karsten Hansen in center field. And they'll be anchored on the mound by Caden Harris. Like I mentioned before, it's an away game, so the Drifters are hitting first here in Corvallis. But as for the teams themselves, Springfield still sitting in last place in the WCL South Division. They're 9-18 on the year, despite the 3 games straight that they've won. But Corvallis not too much better. It's a crucial series for Springfield to potentially make up some ground in the WCL South Division standings. Corvallis sitting at just 13-14 on the year. They're 4-6 in their last 10, same as Springfield. But the interesting thing, we were talking with the CEO of the Corvallis Knights before the game, and 4-8 at home, struggling to score a little bit of struggling to score some runs, while Springfield's pitching has been absolutely fantastic. They're on an absolute run right now. They gave up just 7 runs in this series against Marion. And then the 2 games before that, they gave up 3 apiece. So they've now given up 13 runs over their last 5 games. They've been absolutely incredible. We'll see if Caden Harris can continue that success right after a short break here on the Drifters Radio Network. Well, it's a marvelous day for baseball here at Goss Stadium at Coleman Field. Welcome to Corvallis, Oregon. I'm Addison Cerezo, who's going to be taking you through the action of this Friday night ball game here on July 3rd, 2026, one day before the 4th of July. Just about set to go. Cooper Mullins standing in against Bryce Hill. Mullins going to take ball one, look just outside the zone. Mullins, redshirt junior from Michigan. Dad Rob, the athletic director at the University of Oregon. It's a homecoming for him as he swings and misses at strike one. So 1-1 the count on Mullins. Mullins hitting .316 on the year. Wave and a miss at strike two. And quickly, two-strike count on Cooper Mullins. He's thrived in two-strike counts. We've seen it a number of times where he's able to put a ball in play and get himself on base with 2 strikes in the count. And swing and a miss, strike three. So 1 out in the inning. And that'll bring up Tristan Jennings. Take a look at the defense behind Bryce Hill, the starting pitcher for the Corvallis Knights this afternoon. Left to right in the outfield, it's Ethan Porter, Max Medina, and Zane Garvey. And left to right in the infield, it's Ryan Severns, Joey Marasco at the shortstop, and Tate Hammond at second, Trey Swigert at first, and Carter Stewart behind the dish. As Jennings lifts a first pitch fastball, blooping in, and it'll drop into left field. He's got himself a first pitch base hit, so a little bit of offense going here in the first inning for Springfield. Bryce Hill, what an incredible high school career he had. He's the number 154 MLB draft prospect, projects him around the 4th or 5th round. Absolutely incredible pitcher. We saw him in warm-ups. He's pumping low to mid-90s. 2,400 spin rate, app 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 spin rate. Jennings on first base gets a long look from Bryce Hill. Cutting a miss from cutting a foul from Elliott. Checks on the catcher. Looks like it went off of Stewart's mask there. Elliott, catcher at Tulane, started his collegiate career at USC, but transferred to get a little bit more playing time, and he did just so this year. Hit .240 as the primary starting catcher for Tulane, and he's hit. Jennings was taking off and didn't need to go so fast as Elliott's going to head down to first himself. And so runner in scoring position now for Colton Perez, who's got the start at first base this evening. And Perez, the only drifter with multiple home runs, hitting just .225 on the year. Has 3 doubles as well, so 5 out of his 9 hits on the summer have gone for extra bases. A two-way player as well. He's getting the start on the mound tomorrow. Pitched to a 2.08 ERA. He's been absolutely lights out on the mound this summer. As Hill looks in. Comes set. From the stretch. He goes. Ball one way outside. Could have been a pitch out if it was a little higher. But Jennings on second base now does not move a muscle. So 1-0 the count on Colton Perez. Junior from Vanguard takes strike one. Goss Stadium, the home of the Oregon State Beavers. Also home of the Corvallis Knights in the summer. A lot of Oregon State players on their roster as Perez whiffs it. Strike two. Really great stuff from Hall. That one 93 out of the hand with a 2,300 spin rate. Looks like it just missed the outside corner, so Perez may want that one back, but nonetheless, stares at Hall, who's going to look back at Jennings at second base, Look again, and fire home. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Colton Perez cut down on strikes. And 2 outs here in the inning for Springfield. So Preston Armstrong now to the dish. Armstrong was going to be DHing today, but moved behind the plate to be the catcher for Caden Harris, who's got the start on the bump for Springfield. Watches ball 1 go by in the dirt. Runners on first and second here in a scoreless ball game, top of the first. 2 outs in the inning. The pitch from Hall. Inside, but taken for strike 1. You see it on my digital strike zone. Just caught the corner. What a beautiful pitch from Bryce Hill. 1-1 the count. Sizable lead at first base for Elliott. Ball 2 is low. 2-1 the count to Armstrong, the Seattle University catcher. Started 9 games out of 15 that he played in overall for Seattle this spring. Hit .250 with an .878 OPS. So good year for Johnny Elliott, who's going into for Preston Armstrong, excuse me. And fouls one back. 2-2. Going into his sophomore year. Threw out 4 of 6 runners who attempted to steal on and behind the plate. So certainly a good option behind the dish as he's doing so today. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runners on first and second in the top of the first. The pitch from Hill fouled off once more. And into the stands. Falls. None of the fans could make a catch on or make a play on it. Armstrong hitting just .077 this season for the Drifters, just 1 for 13 on the year. Does have 2 walks and a hit by pitch as well, so he's been able to find his way on base 25% of the time. As another 2-2 from Hill is taken inside. The fans don't like it. But about 2 or 3 baseballs inside was that pitch. So a full count. Runners will be on the move. Hill looks back at Jennings and fires home. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Drifters can't capitalize on an early runner in scoring position. No runs, 1 hit. Hit by pitch and no errors as we move to the bottom of the first here on the Drifters Radio Network. Back here for the bottom of the first here in Corvallis. And Caden Harris getting some warm-up pitches in. He'll face a lineup of Max Medina, Joey Marasco, Maverick Russell, top three. Ethan Porter, Zane Garvey, and Ryan Severns, 4, 5, and 6. And then Trey Swigart, Carter Stewart, and Tate Hammond rounding out the bottom of the order. And the defense behind him, left to right in the outfield, Tristan Jennings, Karsten Hansen, and Peyton Tyner in the outfield. Left to right on the infield, it's Jacob Villapando at third, Melosi Mataafa Alferos at short as leadoff hitter Medina takes ball one inside. Cooper Mullins playing second base, Colton Perez at first, and Preston Armstrong behind the dish as Harris's 1-0 is popped into center field. Moving over a couple steps to his right is Karsten Hansen, who puts it away for out number one. So 2 pitches and 1 out for Caden Harris. So that'll bring up Joey Marasco, the shortstop. Marasco, the sophomore from George Fox, takes ball one just outside. The 1-0. In there for strike one. Nothing ball game here in the bottom of the first. Joey Marasco, the hitter, the sophomore from George Fox, looks at strike two. Marasco is hitting .233 on the summer for Corvallis. Started the year on a 5-game hit streak, but hasn't really been able to find the grass a whole ton here at Goss Stadium. Reaches out and pokes an outside pitch into the stands, so he'll stay alive. The count will remain 1-2. At George Fox in the spring, his freshman year started all 37 games he appeared in. 2 home runs, 19 RBI on the year, hit .253. So a good season for him. His real offensive weapon are his legs, though. 13 steals at George Fox, fouls another pitch off. Still 1-2. And Caden Harris, pitcher on the mound for Springfield this evening. Junior from Mount Marty University, has a .582 on the year. Just a touch lower after that fly out from Max Medina just moments ago. And another 1-2 from Harris. Lined into right field, it's Tyner who ranges over to his left. And 2 outs in the bottom of the first for Caden Harris. His stuff is definitely working. See him use his fastball and his off speed effectively. That one just above the zone, but just enticing enough for Marasco to chase. And that'll bring up Maverick Russell, the designated hitter this afternoon. Russell, a sophomore from UCLA, takes strike one. Didn't make an appearance this season at UCLA. He'll probably redshirt if he hasn't already. Or from UC Santa Barbara, excuse me. And grounds one softly to Mullins. He's going to range over to his right, make the play. And it's a 1-2-3 first inning for Caden Harris. We're through one here in Corvallis. Be right back on the Drifters streaming network. Back here for the top of the second, Peyton Tyner watches ball one go by from Hill. Tyner hitting .274 on the summer. The count moves to 2-0 on a ball outside. Has a home run on the year. Went to Marist High School, teammate of Cooper Mullins there, whiffs it. Strike one. Tyner had 5 hits in the first 2 games of the season. Remember, it was my first couple of games here, and I was like, oh my goodness, Peyton Tyner is the truth, as he lines a single into center field. A base hit for Peyton Tyner. It's the second of the ballgame for the Drifters. So a leadoff base runner for Springfield here in the top of the second. But it was my first game here. Well, it was my first game as a member of the Drifters staff, and I thought, wow, Peyton Tyner from Lane Community College, this is incredible. He's fantastic, but hasn't seen too much playing time since then, as Melosi Mata Alpha Alferos stands in now. Freshman shortstop from Oregon. Or just completed his freshman season, I should say. Watches ball one go by. Hitting just 143 as a Drifter thus far, 4 for 28. But he made an immediate impact for Springfield. First pitch he saw as a Drifter, interestingly enough, roped down the line for a double. Watches ball 2 dribble in. Mata Alpha Alferos from Iwa Beach, Hawaii, pops one foul. That one will get out of Goss Stadium here. At Oregon this year, he hit 200, 1 for 5 on the year, was mostly used as a defensive replacement, and did appear in the NCAA tournament as Oregon made it to the Super Regionals, but as Tyner, a pickoff to first base. He's going to take second base, and the throw sails into left field. The throw got by the first baseman, Swigart, and then Swigart tried to gun Tyner down when he was breaking for second, but the throw sailed into left field. It escaped Marasco's glove. So it'll go down as an error. Tyner's going to advance to second, and Mata Alpha Alferos has a runner in scoring position. And the Drifters are in a prime position with still no outs in the top of the second to take an early 1-0 lead. Mata Alpha Alferos shows bunt, but it's foul. So 2-2, the bunt's probably off here. Third base coach Dom Graziano on the call for that one. Looked away as Graziano and Mata Alpha Alferos work together at Oregon. Graziano, an assistant coach on the staff there, as Mata Alpha Alferos goes down swinging. 1 out in the top of the second. That'll bring up Jacob Villapando. Villapando, the third baseman today, has seen some action mostly on the left side of the infield, shortstop or a third baseman. His arm, one of the better ones in the WCL when it comes to shortstops, third baseman, left side infielders. Takes ball one over his head. Villapando, a sophomore at Fresno City College, broke his wrist. Ending his second season at Fresno City College, broke his wrist, didn't play this year. So he's planning to go back and play another season there as he takes strike one. Or swings at strike one, excuse me. So 1 ball, 1 strike, and 1 out here in a scoreless ball game, top of the second. And Peyton Tyner on second base as Hill collects himself, and Hill will come home. Strike 2, says the umpire. home plate umpire Thomas Glynn this afternoon. One and two on Villalpando. High. So 2-2 the count. Villalpando hitting just 186 on the summer. Does have 2 doubles and 7 RBI, so he's been effective in bringing runners around. 11 hits for him on the summer. Watches a 2-2, clips his helmet. A big groan from the crowd, and he'll take first base. Jeff Lyle coming out of the dugout to check on his third baseman. Seems to be okay. I've seen a lot of hit batters mostly going against the Drifters this season. I've seen some unhappy opponents for the Drifters. I saw, particularly in the series against the Pickles, they're a team that likes to crowd the plate, and so I believe it was either 4 or 5 batters that were hit in a game, and towards the end there were, thrown bats and thrown equipment, and not in an aggressive way, but the Pickles hitters were throwing their bats back to their own dugout. One hit another, hit a teammate. It was a mess. But anyway, just 1 out here in the top of the second inning. Drifters threatening once more. It's been a Knights offense that struggled to score runs really the whole season. Not hitting super well, just .237 on the year as a team. So Karsten Hansen's going to stand in. The center fielder takes ball 1 low. Hill still getting up to 93 on that. On that fastball. That's pitch number 34, and so we're going to have a mound visit here. It appears to be the Knights assistant coach, or associate head coach, excuse me, Bo Kearns. He's going to come out and talk to his pitcher, Hill. Hill not quite having the summer that he'd like to be having. Like I mentioned, he's the number 154 draft prospect, but he's got a 7.71 ERA coming into the day. Struggling with his command just a little bit. 7 walks in his mini innings. Once again, coming into the day. But 11 strikeouts, so he definitely does have that stuff that is required of a top draft prospect like that. Committed to Stanford, so he's definitely going places either way, whether he gets drafted and signs with whatever team decides to draft him, or going to Stanford. Those are both very enviable places for 99% of baseball players. So mound visit comes to an end, and Karsten Hansen swings at a 1-0 and lifts it down the left field line, but foul. Boy, if he was a little earlier on that pitch, it would have been extra bases for Hansen. And Hansen, hitting 167 on the summer, has a double as a part of his 3 hits. Collected his 1 RBI on the year versus Walla Walla. That was that double. And takes ball 2 outside. So 2-1 the count. Still 1 out here. Don't be surprised to see Peyton Tyner on second base take off. And Tyner, 3 steals on the summer thus far. As Hansen watches strike 2 blow by him, it was just low. Looks over to the dugout to confirm, and seems as though Jeff Lyle was like, yep, that's a strike. You got to offer at that one. But 2-2 the count. Mound visit seems to have calmed Hill down. As the 2-2's fouled off. And we'll see another 2-2 count. Fouls another 2-2 pitch off. Hill collects himself on the mound. The kick and the pitch. Grounded softly to Hammond. He's going to throw to second for one. Not in time to first, so Tyner's going to move to third. And there will be runners on the corners with 2 outs, and the lineup will turn over for Cooper Mullins. So the Drifters still threatening. Still a runner in scoring position, and the go-ahead run just 90 feet away for Cooper Mullins. Ball one is outside. Mullins took a while to get to Springfield this summer, was at the Eugene Regional as a wild pitch gets away from the catcher Stewart, and Karsten Hansen's going to take second base. So runners on second and third. A base hit would score 2 here. Center fielder Medina shading over towards left field. He's in left center field, so big right center field gap as Mullins takes a strike. 2-1 the count. Mullins hitting .316 on the summer. Does have a home run, something that he hasn't done at Michigan just yet. Whiffs it, strike 2. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs here in the top of the second. Fouls one off. Stay 2-2. Just misses, so the count will go full on Mullins. Slider wasn't able to clip the outside edge. The payoff from Hill. Swung on and popped down the left field line, and that'll get foul and out of play. So we'll do it again. Cooper Mullins putting up a great fight here in the top of the second. Hill comes set and works out of the stretch. Strike 3 called. Looks just below the zone, and Mullins is set down on strikes. Drifters unable to capitalize for the second straight inning. We'll head to the bottom of the second. No runs, 1 hit, an error. But weren't able to capitalize, so we'll see more of Caden Harris on the mound in just a couple minutes on the Drifters Radio Network. Back here for the bottom of the second, or the bottom of the second here at Goss Stadium. Caden Harris just delivered strike one to Ethan Porter, who did go around on strike two there from Harris. Porter just finished up his freshman season at Oregon State. Watches ball one go by. Porter hit .293 at Oregon State, pair of home runs, 9 RBI. Started 23 of the 37 games he appeared in. And fouls the 1-2 off, and we'll do it again. Harris looks in and deals. And that's a line down the right field line, looping, and foul. Crowd disappointed here at Goss Stadium. It's a great turnout here in Corvallis. Corvallis really known as a baseball town. Of course, with the success over the past 25-ish years for the Oregon State baseball program, everybody's got baseball fever, especially surrounding Oregon State. So to be able to come here for an extra 3 or so months and see just about the same quality of play as they would normally is a real treat in a town of about 50,000 people, as Harris delivers ball two low and away. Kick the pitch. That's popped into right field. Tyner fighting the sun. He's going to make the catch. So 1 out here in the bottom of the second. Caden Harris has got 4 up and 4 down. Big for him as he's working with a 5.82 ERA coming into the day. Pitch coming will be just his 19th through 4 outs, as that's in there for a strike. Harris definitely been working with Dean Stiles quite a bit over the past couple weeks or so. His outings have gotten better and better, and that's lifted into right field. Tyner once again fighting the sun, but once again making the catch. So quickly 2 outs in the second inning. And that'll bring up Ryan Severns after the Zane Garvey fly out to right field. Peyton Tyner seeing a lot of action thus far. It's his 3rd catch of the game, as strike one is followed up from a looping line drive into left field. That'll get down for a base hit. It's the first base runner of the evening for Corvallis, and Ryan Severns is aboard for Trey Swigart. Talking to Drifters broadcaster and director of communications before the game, Knight Ureski, and Knight was telling me that he called a couple games for the University of Portland where Trey Swigart is playing baseball in the spring, and he was just flabbergasted at what Swigart was able to do, as Harris's first pitch is low for ball one. Swigart was 3 for 3 with 2 home runs and 7 RBI in 3 2/3 innings pitched. He also had 7 Ks in the same game. He was texting another one of our interns, Henry Light. He found the college Ohtani as Severns takes off for second base, and the throw sails into center field, and he's got himself a stolen base. And a runner in scoring position for Corvallis, and Trey Swigart, like I mentioned, an offensive weapon for Corvallis, is hitting just .227 on the summer, but has reached base safely in 21 of his 24 games played this summer, and has walked at least once in 18 of those games. So true on-base machine as he lifts one out to deep center field. Ranging back on it is Karsten Hansen, and he makes the catch just a few feet shy of the wall. So Caden Harris able to get out of it here in the second. We'll head on to inning number 3 here in Corvallis. Top of the third here at Goss Stadium at Colin Field. Tristan Jennings takes a first pitch strike. And Hill deals, and it's outside for ball 1. So 1-1 the count on Tristan Jennings, hitting for the second time this afternoon. Cuts and misses at strike 2. Jennings, a two-way player for the Drifters, hitting .267 on the summer. In 15 at-bats, he's got 4 hits, including 2 doubles, and he chops one high on the right side, but foul. We'll do the 1-2 again. On the pitching side, he's appeared in 6 games, had 10 and 2/3 innings of work, but has pitched to an 11.81 ERA. Had 5 strikeouts in each of his first 2 outings on the mound, but as a hitter has shined more than on the mound as he waves and misses at that one, and he's set down on strikes. So that'll bring up Johnny Elliott for the second time today. Elliott was hit by a pitch in the first inning. Back-to-back strikeouts from Colton Perez and Preston Armstrong stranded him there, however. Grounds one hard to the third baseman. Severns throws across the diamond, and 2 outs quickly in the third inning. So that'll bring up Colton Perez. Like I said just a moment ago, he did strike out in the first inning, but has lots of power, so really the Drifter best prime to give them a 1-0 lead with one swing of the bat. Takes ball one outside as Hill is ready. Deals and delivers ball two high. Perez waves and misses at that one. It could have been just a little bit low, so maybe a pitch that Perez wants back. But a hearty hack at that one makes the count 2-1. And that one low once more. Same spot as the pitch before, but this time Perez doesn't offer at it. So a hitter's count here for Perez. If you're Bryce Hill, you don't want to risk losing him. And he does that exactly. So Perez will head down to first with a 2-out walk. And that brings up Preston Armstrong. Waits for the first pitch from Hall. And it's in there for a strike. Looks over at Elliott on first base. Armstrong checked his swing, but fouls it off. So 0-2. He wouldn't have gone around on that one, but unlucky as the bat just ran into the ball there. Certainly the mark of a good contact hitter. Preston Armstrong. Hill goes over to first, nothing doing there. It's fireworks night here at Goss Stadium, so big turnout as, for whatever reason, fireworks, even more than the promise of a great game like this one, bring fans out to the ballparks in flocks. As Armstrong takes ball one inside. 1-2 the count, 2 outs in the inning. Hill dangles the arm, comes set. From the stretch, he fires. Called strike 3. Armstrong doesn't like it, but that'll end the inning. We're through 2.5. We'll head to the bottom of the third here on the Drifters streaming network. Bottom of the third here in Corvallis. It's Carter Stewart leading off against Caden Harris, who's back out for a third inning of work. Harris thus far has been great, working through 2 clean innings, just 1 hit allowed. And his 26th pitch of the afternoon is swung on and missed. As Armstrong looks like it took his mask off when he was between pitches, and gonna wait a second, make sure Armstrong's okay behind the plate, and it seems as though he is. So 0-1 the count, scoreless ball game here in the bottom of the third. Another wave and a miss from Stewart. And Harris with great stuff on the mound this afternoon. That one, 80-mile-an-hour curveball. Caught the bottom edge of the zone as Stewart takes ball 1 high. Fastball at 86, so not necessarily overpowering stuff from Harris, but it certainly does the job as he delivers ball 2 low, and certainly does the job. He's gone 2 strong thus far tonight against a relatively dangerous Corvallis lineup, and Stewart fouls that one off. Carter Stewart, a first baseman or a catcher, primarily at Portland. Going into his sophomore year, our old friend Drew Holman, he's going to be a catcher at Portland this upcoming season as well. So we expect those two to be learning a lot from each other as the count goes full on Stewart. Harris delivered ball 3 high. It was a slider, just couldn't clip the zone. Stewart hitting .260 on the summer. Swings and fouls that one off out of play. And we'll do it again. All of these Corvallis hitters are on-base machines. I tell you. .426 on-base percentage for Stewart this summer. Has 8 walks in just 50 at-bats, and he will get walk number 9 right there. As Preston Armstrong behind the dish thought it clipped the zone. You see my little mini 2D strike zone here that it did clip the zone, but a call that could have gone either way puts Carter Stewart on first base. So Tate Hammond's going to come to the plate. Incoming freshman at UCLA out of Long Beach, California. Hammond just 111 on the summer thus far. Caden Harris picks over to first. Sliding back safely is Carter Stewart. Like I said, though, Hammond also an on-base machine. .277 on-base percentage to that 111 average. Shows bunt and drops it down. Harris fields it cleanly, throws over to first for out number 1, and Stewart is able to move over to second, so a runner in scoring position with just 1 out. And that flips the lineup over. Max Medina is going to come to the plate for the second time today. Medina lined out his first time up, lined out to left field. And pops the first pitch foul and out of play. Awaits Harris, who dangles the arm, comes set, looks back over to Stewart at second, and fires home. In there for strike 2, so quickly 0-2 count on Max Medina. Scoreless ball game here in the bottom of the third as Harris fires. That's chopped softly to the left side over the head of Mullins. It just couldn't. Mullins couldn't make a play on it, and Stewart's going to come around from second to score on the RBI single from Tate Hammond. or from Max Medina, excuse me. So 1-0 the score as a high chopping single to the right side gets over the head of Mullins on the second bounce. And Medina is on first base. Harris throws over to first. Medina able to get back in there safely. Hammond fouls, or not Hammond, excuse me. Marasco fouls a pitch off. Joey Marasco in for the second time today. Oh, 0-2 the count on Joey Marasco. Caden Harris looking in. Max Medina on first base. Comes set. Throws over to first. A little closer than last time, but Medina is still able to get in there safely. Marasco 1-2 the count. Last pitch misses outside and high. And a pitch out. Couldn't catch Medina running. Still on first base as what essentially is a waste of a pitch is just high and outside. Marasco, a sophomore at George Fox out of Livermore, California. Takes ball 3 way high. So Harris, after the RBI single, seems to have his command failing him just a little bit. No action in the Drifters bullpen just yet. As Medina took off for second base, but Marasco fouled the payoff pitch off, and we'll do it again. See if Medina takes off once more. Medina, a speedy guy. Harris throws over to first once more. Isn't able to get Medina, but looks like Colton Perez's foot got caught under Medina there, but move. Colton Perez is okay. We'll see what's going on at the plate as Harris fires home. And that's popped up, but out of play as Medina took off once more. Would have been interesting if that stayed in play, and Preston Armstrong able to make a play at the plate, but 1-0 ball game here in the bottom of the third. RBI single from Max Medina scored a run, and that's ball 4. So runners on first and second, and Knights threatening to put up a crooked number here in the third inning. That brings up UC Santa Barbara sophomore Maverick Russell for the second time today. Russell out of Whittier, California. Went to La Mirada High School, where an illustrious career for him. Primarily a corner infielder, but Selected to the Max Preps California All-State First Team as a junior in 2024. Was a Corvallis Knight last year as well. Hit .274 with the Knights. Takes strike one. .362 batting average in high school overall. 120 hits over 4 years. So a short high school season, that's quite a few hits. And takes ball one outside. Harris watching Medina at second. Goes home. Low once more, just about a baseball below the zone there to Maverick Russell. Harris, his pitch count climbing. This one will be his 49th pitch of the afternoon. And here it is. It's fouled and out of play. Back my way. Looks like it's going to shape up to be a beautiful sunset here in Corvallis. If you're joining us live from the ballpark, I want to welcome you, encourage you to stay after for fireworks. As that's lined straight to Cooper Mullins, and he makes a catch. Both runners are able to get back to the respective bags safely. And a loud second out for Caden Harris. That one 98 off the bat, and think about a car that's going to get a speeding ticket on the freeway coming right at you in the form of a baseball. That's a scary sight to see if you're Cooper Mullins. Of course, if you know Cooper Mullins, he's very level-headed, so he was able to make that play with ease. As the cleanup hitter, Ethan Porter takes ball one just a touch inside. The 1-0. Fouled out of play, so 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. Harris fires home. High for ball 2. Two and 1 the count on Porter, and he launches that one high and deep to right center field. Moving back on it is Hansen, and he makes the catch for out number 3. Corvallis takes a 1-0 lead thanks to an RBI single from leadoff hitter Max Medina. Springfield with a chance to fight back right after this on the Drifters streaming network. Back here for the top of the fourth, Aiden Gebhard pinch hitting for Peyton Tyner. And fouls the first pitch off, 0-1. And bunts the 0-1 pitch foul, so 0-2 quickly on Gebhard. Gebhard, incredibly fast player for Northwest Nazarene. Fourth in the WCL, 15 steals on the season. Started the season on a 4-game hit streak. Hasn't hit much since then. Did not go around on ball outside from Bryce Hill. Hill having a nice day on the bump. 7 strikeouts through 3 innings. Just a walk and 2 hits are the blemishes on his record. As Gebhard swings through that one. And that's strikeout number 8 for Bryce Hill. So that'll bring up Melosi Mata Afa Alferos for the second time today. Fouls off the first pitch. So 0-1 the count on Mata Afa Alferos. Struck out his first time up, takes ball 1 way outside. Hill doesn't seem to be slowing down. This will be his 69th pitch here, and it's low. 2-1 the count on Mata Afa Alferos. So the 2 hits and then 2 in-play outs for the Drifters. The rest have been strikeouts, and there's hit number 3 as Mata Afa Alferos lines one up the middle, and he's got himself a 1-out knock. Great piece of hitting from Mata Afa Alferos. Got it off the end of the bat, but was able to place it right up the middle between the second baseman Hammond and the shortstop Marasco. So that brings up Jacob Villapando. Reached on a fielder's choice last time. Or excuse me, was hit by a pitch and then was out on a fielder's choice last time. Takes ball 1 away. Mata Afa Alferos on first base. Average size lead for him over there. Thinks about taking off, but Villapando sends one into center field. Settling under it is Medina. He'll make the catch. Mata Afa Alferos not able to advance on that one. He'll head back to first base. And 2 outs in the inning for Karsten Hansen. You know, it's been fun. Drifters don't necessarily always have a traditional bat boy, so sometimes their players will come out onto the field, and when I'm up in the press box, you know, wherever I'm at, Hamlin, here, wherever, it's always fun to try and see if I can figure out who's getting the bat from the player who just got out or got a hit or got a walk or whatever. I think Jack Clee's doing it today, as Karsten Hansen fouls off the first pitch, 0-1. Hill looking in, dangling the arm. Looks over to first. Comes set. And comes home. And that's grounded softly to Tate Hammond at second base. He'll throw to his double play partner, Marasco. And that's out number 3. We are through 3.5 here at Goss Stadium. Be right back on the Drifters Radio Network. Caden Harris still out on the mound for the Drifters. There is action in the bullpen, however, as Zane Garvey fouls off the first pitch from Harris. Harris, that was only his 55th pitch of the afternoon, so keeping the pitch count relatively low despite a shaky third inning, but looking to bounce back here in the fourth. Boy, and that sure looked like it touched the zone, but just high was that pitch from Harris, so 1-1 the count. One. Just outside for ball two. Garvey, a junior out of Western Oregon. Beaverton native. About an hour up the road here in Corvallis, and he launches that one to right center field. It is one hopping the wall, and so a ground rule double for Zane Garvey gives the Knights a leadoff runner in scoring position. Boy, what a knock for him. 97 miles an hour off the bat. About a 27-degree launch angle, 366 feet. But a spacious power alleys here in Corvallis means that's not a home run. .365 in the power alleys, so a little bit more towards center there. Brings up Ryan Severns, who takes strike one. A 1-1 line, but foul. Boy, that's a break for Caden Harris and the Drifters. That was smoked 88 miles an hour off the bat. That would have been almost certainly extra bases if it stayed fair. And Severns awaiting the 0-2. Grounded hard to Mataafa Alferos at short. Fires over to first for out number one. One away here in the bottom of the fourth. Like I mentioned before, I'm up, flew out to center field. Taken for a strike. Can't take the bat off his shoulder there as looks at strike two. And quickly 0-2 on him. Harris without a strikeout on the day. Not particularly a strikeout kind of guy. Does have 20 and 21 and 2/3 coming into the day. But just 36 and 46 innings at Mount Marty in the spring of 2026. So more of a pitch to contact guy, which is something you can appreciate at any level. 0-2. You can't get the curve to drop in, so 1-2 is the count. I know in high school, at least my coaches always were telling the pitchers, and pitch to contact, that's how you get outs. And a little bit of a flawed philosophy as Swigart fouls off the 1-2, so we'll do it again. A little bit of a flawed philosophy just with the shakiness of the defense in high school. Of course, not everybody has that strikeout stuff like so many of the guys do at this level, but the level of the hitters you face in the West Coast League as Swigart, you know, a junior from Portland, certainly not anything to turn your nose at. As he launches that one down the right field line, that's going to get down for extra bases. So another ground rule double is going to bring home the runner from second, Garvey. So 2-0 the score. You see if Jeff Lyle, he's on the top step of the dugout. We'll see if he wants to make a pitching change. It appears as though he's going to leave Harris in. So a runner on second base for Carter Stewart. He's going to stand in now. Boy, that was absolutely smoked off the bat of Swigart. 103 off the bat, 21-degree launch angle. That would have been way gone if he got maybe 4 or 5 more degrees off the bat. But no pitching change right now, but we will see a mound visit from pitching coach Dean Stiles. Stiles, one of the senior pitching coaches in the West Coast League. Been in baseball coaching since 1982. He's been just about everywhere. Was a pitching coach at the University of Oregon from 2008 to 2015. Pitching coach in the Dodgers pitching development staff. And celebrated a 2020 World Series win with them. Most recently in the majors was a pitching coach in the Tigers pitching development staff. And carries around the Tigers backpack with him everywhere he goes. Really cool backpack. Has that cool gothic font of the Detroit Tigers on it. Something I'm kind of envious of. It's a really cool backpack. But the mound visit is over. We'll see how that calms Caden Harris down. So Carter Stewart's going to stand in now. Another player from the University of Portland takes a strike. Doesn't love it. You can see him shake his head there. Well, I can see him shake his head there. Swing and a miss from Carter Stewart. Trey Swigart with a sizable lead off of second base, but Mullins nowhere near the bag. Mata'afa Alferos kind of shading towards the bag, but remains to be seen if Harris is going to attempt to pick off. Karsten Hansen is shading towards left field a little bit, so there's not really a backup if the pickoff to second base sails into center field. 0-2 the count on Stewart. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Caden Harris has his first strikeout on the day. And there's 2 away here in the 4th. Caden Harris having a nice outing so far, 3 2/3. That was his first strikeout. And 4 hits allowed for him, so he's put together a nice outing here as his 71st pitch is lifted into center field. Hansen was right there. He just ranges 4 or 5 steps over to his right. And we've got 4 complete here in Corvallis. Drifters looking to bounce back, put up a crooked number here on the Drifters Radio Network. Cooper Mullins leading off the top of the 5th inning here in Corvallis. Mullins with 2 strikeouts on the day. He's 0 for 2. See if he can get something going here. Potentially strike back. It's going to be Jack Galanita coming into the game in relief of Bryce Hill. His day is done. Mullins fouls that one off. 0-2. Galanita, senior at George Fox, grew up in Lake Balboa, California, as Mullins takes ball 1 downstairs. Mullins slices that one into left field. Moving back on it is Ethan Porter. He makes the catch for out number 1. That'll bring up Tristan Jennings. Jennings 1 for 2 on the day. Had that first inning single. Wasn't able to come around to score. Jennings takes strike 1 from Galanita. Galanita been pretty good over the last couple weeks or so. Does have a 4.50 ERA on the summer, 2-0 record for him, but Jennings lifts that one out towards shallow right field. Under it is Garvey, and so quickly 2 outs for Galanita in his 5th inning of relief. But Galanita been great over the last couple of weeks. Went 3 1/3 innings, allowed 3 hits. He struck out 2 on June 26th versus Marion before working a clean 4-pitch 6th inning on June the 30th versus Portland. So the Drifters hard-pressed to really get anything going off of him, but we'll see if Johnny Elliott can do so. He stands in, taking ball 1 outside. That's bottom of the 5th here on the Drifters Radio Network. Max Medina leading off for the Drifters, facing Caden Harris, who's still out there on the bump. He's going for his 5th inning of work. It would be his longest appearance of the year. Count is quickly 1-1 on Medina. Medina had that RBI single in the third inning that scored the first run of the game. Lifts that one out towards right center field. Gets by Gebhardt, excuse me. It's going all the way to the wall. Medina is sliding headfirst into third. He's got a triple. A leadoff triple for Max Medina. Brings up Joey Marasco. That was crushed off the bat. 89 miles an hour. Went almost 300 feet there. Right center field gap. Joey Marasco, excuse me, taking strike one from Caden Harris. I gotta tell you, Caden Harris, for outing he's had today, he's doing everything right. He's starting hitters with strike one. Around 80% of the time, he's been fantastic. 0-2 on Joey Marasco. Just watched strike two go by. Offers at that one, but fouled off. It'll stay 0-2. Marasco, a sophomore at George Fox, hit .253 this past spring, pair of home runs and 19 RBI. Pops that one up, shallow center field. Oncoming is Hansen, but it'll be Melosi Mataafa Alferos making the catch on the infield. It appears Hansen was playing shallow there. It looked like he was kind of expecting something like that. So a big first out here in the fifth. Bring up Maverick Russell. Russell, the UC Santa Barbara commit, redshirted his freshman season at UCLA this past year. Didn't redshirt, excuse me, he just didn't appear. Hitting .300 on the summer. He lines that one into center field. Karsten Hansen makes a nice running grab. He's going to throw home. Not in time for the speedy Max Medina, who comes home to score with the game's third run. Knights are up 3-0 on the sacrifice fly off the bat of Maverick Russell. So the bases are empty. There's 2 outs in the inning. And it brings up Ethan Porter. Porter has flown out twice today. Drops down a bunt. It's going to be an infield single for Ethan Porter as Villapando couldn't handle it cleanly. So traffic on the bases once more for Corvallis, and it appears as though Jeff Lyle is just going to keep Caden Harris in the game, just allow him to ride the inning out. There are 2 outs in the inning, but Zane Garvey coming back up to the plate. Takes ball one, just above the letters for a 1-0 count on Garvey. Throws over to first and looks like he got him, and he did! Caden Harris picks off Ethan Porter, and he gets out of the inning. Wow! But that's the end of 5 innings. And see if the Drifters can get something going here in the top of the 6th, which will be right after this on the Drifters Radio Network. Back here for top of the 6th inning. Colton Perez leading off. Oh, 0-2 the count on him. Swung at a pitch just outside the zone. Perez is like that outside pitch, and of course he's a big guy, so he can certainly reach those outside pitches as he takes ball 1 low and away. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Colton Perez set down on strikes for the second time today. And so that'll bring up Preston Armstrong.
Now up to bat for the Drifters, the catcher, number 33, Preston Armstrong.
Armstrong 0 for 2 on the day. He's punched out twice. A lot of strikeouts for the Drifters today. As Armstrong watches strike 1 go by, is about a baseball outside the zone, but is a strike, says the home plate umpire, Thomas Glenn. Armstrong thought about going around, but ultimately held off as that pitch was in there for strike 2. (0-2) is low for ball 1. So 1-2 the count. Nine strikeouts for the Drifters this afternoon. And the 1-2 is popped out of play, so we'll do it again. Galanita out on the mound for a second inning of relief. Really found a good niche for himself in that long relief role. 11 appearances, but 22 innings for Galanita. Hasn't started a game this summer as he fires home, but it's fouled off once more. Hunter Meyer, the pinch hitter on deck, would be replacing Aiden Gebhard. Armstrong checked his swing, but no go, says the field umpire, Michael Gray. Interesting to see Hunter Meyer pinch hitting as Gebhard just entered the ballgame. Did strike out, but Armstrong pops one up on the infield. It'll be the third baseman, Ryan Severns making the catch. So 2 outs in the inning, and Hunter Meyer is going to come to the plate for the first time today.
At the plate for the Drifters, the right fielder, number 25, Blake Stavros.
So Hunter Meyer coming to the plate. For the first time. Chops one to the left side. It's Severns making the play. He throws over to first for out number 3. So the Drifters retired in order. And they're being shut out through 6 innings. We'll head to the bottom of the 6th on the Drifters Radio Network. new pitcher into the ballgame for the Drifters. It's Sonny Pena, who recently entered the transfer portal, really making a name for himself this summer. He's been absolutely incredible. Pena wearing the number 8. Hasn't allowed a run since June 12th. Facing Zane Garvey, he delivers ball 1 just upstairs. One and 0 on Garvey. Garvey 1 for 3 on the day. Had a double and scored in the 4th. 1-1 the count on him now. Letters. Strike 2 waved at above the letters, but Garvey offered at it nonetheless. That's chopped to Cooper Mullins at second base. Fires over to first to Colton Perez for out number 1. Pena, 3.52 ERA on the summer for Springfield. Struck out 6 batters against Bend in his first outing of the season, 6 of his 21 on the season. So Ryan Severns up to the plate now. And takes strike 1. Severns one for 2 on the day. And takes strike 2, so Severns unable to take the bat off his shoulder. Hitting .227 on this summer. At UCSB this year, did hit .225. Played 21 games for the Gauchos. Started in 10 of them. Fouls off the 0-2, so showing a little bit of fight in this at-bat against Pena. Just been dominant. And called strike 3. Sonny Pena sets Severns down on strikes. So that'll bring up Trey Swigart for the 3rd time today. And Pena delivers strike 1 to Swigart. Pena really looking good in this 6th inning here. And Swigart looks at a ball there. 1-1 missed just outside the zone there. The 2-1. Called for strike 2. Swigert doesn't like the call. Looks back at the home plate umpire, Thomas Glenn, with a look of maybe that could have been either way there. Called strike 3. Sonny Pena with 2 called strikeouts in the bottom of the 6th. He sets the Knights down in order. And we'll go to the 7th. Drifters with some momentum off of a strong outing from Sonny Pena. We'll be right back on the Drifters Radio Network. Top of the 7th inning. Drifters with 9 outs to play with. Melosi Mataafa Alferos leading off here in the 7th. He's facing Jack Galanita out for a 3rd inning of work. Takes strike 1 out of baseball outside of the zone. Mataafa Alferos waving a miss at that one. That one way outside the zone. And takes ball 1 low and outside to the lefty. Righty on lefty matchup as Galanita deals, and Melosi Mataafa Alferos has his 2nd hit as he lines one to center field and past the diving Marasco at shortstop. So a leadoff base runner in the 7th inning. The momentum from Pena's strong 6th inning certainly has helped the Drifters here, as Jacob Villapando looking to add on, maybe move Mataafa Alferos into scoring position one way or another, and he flies one to right field. Alferos is halfway. Right fielder Garvey making the catch. Mataafa Alferos back to first base. So 1 out in the inning on the fly out from Villapando. Brings up Karsten Hansen. Hansen, a junior from Lower Columbia, committed to Marshall University. Galanita checks on Melosi Mataafa Alferos at first base. Nothing doing there. Back pick to first base. Nearly had Mataafa Alferos picked off. 1-0 the count on Hansen here. Another pickoff over to first. Mataafa Alferos getting his reps in at pickoffs as a base runner. Still 1-0 on Hansen. So that'll flip the lineup over. Cooper Mullins will come to the plate here.
The second baseman, number 4, Cooper Mullins.
Mullins 0 for 3 on the day. 2 strikeouts to him. He takes ball 1. First pitch was just high above the letters. Mullins, a smaller guy, so smaller strike zone, just 5'7". Mini second basemen are generally the shortest players on the field, so natural position for Mullins as he takes ball 2 outside. 3-0 ball game in the top of the 7th. Mullins the tying run at the plate. Does have a little bit of power, has a home run on the year. And count moves to 3-0 on Mullins. Haven't seen a whole ton of 3-0 counts today. Certainly seen a lot over the past few days at Hamlin Sports Complex with the Marion Berries. Drifters took advantage of Berries pitching. They walked their fair share. And a 4-pitch walk to Cooper Mullins loads the bases for Springfield. And that brings Tristan Jennings to the plate. The catcher, Carter Stewart's going to go have a talk on the mound with Galanita. Galanita in his 3rd inning of work, so very easily could be tiring. No one would really blame him as Galanita, well, he is sort of a long reliever. Anybody coming out of the bullpen generally gets tired after a couple of innings like this. So Tristan Jennings to the plate, and we're going to have a mound visit here. See if it'll be a pitching change. I don't think it will be. So Bo Kearns out for the 2nd time today. Kearns in his 6th season with Corvallis. Working under Corvallis head coach Brooke Knight, one of the greatest coaches in West Coast League history. He's in his 18th season with the Knights. 10 West Coast League championships in Knight's tenure. The team is not named after him. I was wondering that. The team is not named after Brooke Knight. Would be really interesting if it was. The mound visit comes to a close, and first pitch to Tristan Jennings is called a strike. Runs inside on Jennings. Jennings, the Hawaii Pacific product. and chops one to the left side, but foul. Base hit would score 2 here, or at the very least keep the bases loaded for the 3-hole hitter, Johnny Elliott. Jennings 1 for 3 on the day, so has a knock. It's always easy to get a second hit when you have a first hit. Takes ball 1 just inside. Home plate umpire Thomas Glynn hearing it from the fans. They didn't like that call. Close call there. 1-2 the count. Poked to the right side, but foul, out of play. And that's one thing that we've seen from Jennings a couple times today is he can reach out and get one with the end of the bat. He's 5'10", so on the smaller side as baseball players go, but he is quite lanky. Of course, he is a two-way player, is a pitcher as well, and you need to be lanky for that. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Jennings set down on strikes, tried to go after an outside pitch once more. Couldn't get the bat on it this time, so that'll bring up Johnny Elliott. Each batter with the bases loaded in this situation is the winning run, and it seems as though that's going to be it for Jack Galanita. Brooke Knight making the long walk out to the mound. Galanita fist bumping his infield. A great outing for him, and he receives a nice ovation from the crowd. New pitcher in for Corvallis. We'll let you know who that is right after the break on the Drifters Radio Network. So the new pitcher in the game for the Knights is Matthew Kazderka. He's been absolutely ridiculous in college. Has allowed 4 runs for Lower Columbia. Recently committed to Western Kentucky. Gets a wave and a miss from Johnny Elliott on the first pitch there. Kazderka, like I said, just allowed 4 runs in college. A 1.10 ERA in 2025 as a freshman at Lower Columbia. A .89 as a sophomore this year, and hasn't allowed a run this summer. 1-1 the count on Johnny Elliott as the 0-1 was way outside. Kazderka comes home and popped up on the infield. We'll see if it'll tail out of play. It does. Into the stands, Fan with a nice grab over there along the first base side. Runners will return to their respective bases. Mullins, the tying run on first base. Elliott, the winning run at the plate. 2 outs here in the top of the 7th inning. One and two the count. Kozderka winds and fires. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Johnny Elliott didn't think he went around. The home plate umpire made the call himself. He's going to have a chat and head back to the dugout. So the Drifters leave the bases loaded on a strikeout from Johnny Elliott. We'll stretch here in Corvallis. Bottom of the 7th coming up next on the Drifters Radio Network. Bottom of the 7th inning, new pitcher in for Springfield. Brand new pickup for the Drifters. It's Ezra James. Brand new pickup. We just got him. Southwestern Oregon Community College product. Just finished his freshman season there, and that's launched out toward right field. Hunter Meyer on the warning track makes the catch. With his back to the wall, Hunter Meyer with a great catch, potentially taking away extra bases from Carter Stewart. But Ezra James just finished his freshman season at Southwestern Oregon Community College, 7.65 ERA, 3-3 record over 12 games and 4 games started. And he's got to face Tate Hammond, the UCLA commit. Delivers strike 1. Right down the middle. 82 out of the hand for him. Like it could have been off speed, just a 1,400 spin rate on that. And that's grounded through the 6 hole. Tate Hammond with a nice piece of hitting going the opposite way. He's got himself a base hit. So 1 out and 1 on. That flips the lineup over Max Medina up for the 4th time today. Ball 1 to Medina. It's taken outside. James from the slide step as Medina fouls that one off towards the Drifters dugout on the first base side. So 1-1 the count on Max Medina with 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. The runner's taking off. The throw from Armstrong behind the plate. No slide from Tate Hammond, and he's gunned down. Reston Armstrong throws out a runner, and there's 2 outs in the inning. The last pitch was high, so it's a 2-1 count on Max Medina. Tate Hammond's going to stop and have a chat with his third base coach there. And that's lined down the right field line, so Tate Hammond's going to be replaced on the bases. That's going to rattle around in the corner. Medina's going to head for third. Is this his second triple of the day? It is. Max Medina with a 2-out triple just seconds after Tate Hammond was caught stealing. Just left it a little bit over the heart of the plate. James did. And Dean Stiles is going to come out and have a chat with his new pitcher. Joey Marasco waiting on deck for his turn to hit. 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. First pitch to Joey Marasco is high for ball, or is low for ball 1, excuse me. One 0 is nowhere close. Ball 2. Ezra James in his first appearance for the Drifters, looking to keep it scoreless in the 7th. 3-0 lead for Corvallis. You don't want to extend that lead. It starts to get out of hand, especially when the Drifters have just 6 outs to play with, but the count has moved to 3-0 on Marasco, the George Fox product. Ezra James delivers, and that's in there for a strike. Catches the outside edge. And that's popped up on the infield. Melosi Mata Alferos moves a couple steps back and squeezes it for out number 3. Ezra James works a scoreless 7th inning in his Drifters debut. And we'll head on to the 8th here on the Drifters Radio Network. Back here for the top of the 8th, Colton Perez stands in now, takes a first pitch strike. Perez at Vanguard University, two-way player for the Drifters this summer. Watches ball one go by. Way outside. Fouls off the next pitch. It's 1-2. One and two the count. Just misses. Looked like it could have caught the corner, but no, says the home plate umpire. Count will go full on ball three outside. Kuzderka out there for a second inning of work. Has to face the meat of the Drifters order 4, 5, and 6. And Colton Perez has a leadoff walk. So that'll bring up Preston Armstrong. Armstrong 0 for 3 on the day, pops one up. We'll see if Carter Stewart can make a play on it. No, it's out of play. 0-1 the count on Armstrong. Armstrong, the sophomore out of Goodyear, Arizona, attending Seattle University, where he hit .250 over this past year. Armstrong was a Drifter last summer as well. Hit .214 over 31 games. Did hit a home run, had 16 RBI. We'll see if he can bring Colton Perez in here, who's on first base. Watches ball one. Skip in. Back here for the bottom of the 8th. We apologize, had some technical difficulties here in Corvallis. Ezra James on the mound for a second inning of work, facing off against Maverick Russell. Russell hitting for the 4th time today. 0 for 3 on the day. Grounded out in the first, lined out in the third, and then had a sacrifice fly in the 5th to score Max Medina after his first of 2 triples he's had today. Count quickly 2-1 on Russell. James fires and chopped over to Mataafa Alferos, fires across the diamond for out number 1. So James with a nice debut for Springfield this evening. Now collected 4 outs without allowing up a run. Did have those 2 hits in the first inning of work, but bounced back nicely. Preston Armstrong was able to get a runner caught stealing. Ethan Porter to the plate now, who lines one just over the glove of a leaping Mataafa Alferos. He's got himself a base hit. That's his second hit of the day. Picked off earlier by Caden Harris. So a multi-hit day for Ethan Porter. So Zane Garvey is going to come to the plate. Garvey, junior from Western Oregon, went to Southridge High School in Beaverton, Oregon. About an hour up the road from Goss Stadium in Corvallis. Chops one in front of the mound. James able to make the play on it and retire Garvey over at first base. So 2 outs in the inning. Porter moves up to second base. And a runner in scoring position for Ryan Severns. And Severns 1 for 3 on the day, grounded out in the 4th after a single and a stolen base in the 2nd. And a called strike 3 in the 6th. See if James can set him down as he chops one high to Villapando. Villapando throws across the diamond. And Ezra James puts up another 0. He's gone 2 scoreless, 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 2 scoreless. So Trey Swigart is now on the mound for Corvallis in the top of the ninth. I told the story earlier of how our director of communications and regular play-by-play broadcaster, Knight Ureski, he was doing some play-by-play for the University of Portland this season, and Swigart had an absolutely incredible game as his first pitch to Jacob Villapando was outside, so 1-0. But went. Earlier as Villapando takes a strike, 2-1 the count after the ball outside and the strike to Villapando. Offers at that one, but popped out of play. So quickly 2-2 the count on Villapando. Villapando reached on a fielder's choice in the second inning, but has flown out twice since then, and he goes down swinging. Drifters with a ton of strikeouts today. They are up to 12 on the afternoon. Not incredibly characteristic or out of character for Springfield. They're not usually a team to strike out this much, but I suppose it's bound to happen at some point. As lefty Carson Hansen takes a strike. The zone. 3-0 ball game in the top of the ninth as Hansen cuts and misses at that one. 2-2. Swigart been good on both sides of the ball so far. Of course, we just saw his strikeout of Jacob Villapando. Looks like Preston Armstrong may have gotten clipped by, or not Preston Armstrong, excuse me, Carter Stewart may have gotten clipped by that swing or the foul ball from Carson Hansen. He's getting a check-in from the athletic trainer for the Corvallis Knights. Seems to be okay and will resume play. 2-2 the count with one out in a 3-0 ball game in the top of the ninth. And count will go full as the 2-2 was low. But Swigart been good on both sides of the ball. He's had a double as part of a 1-for-3 day as Karsten Hansen goes down swinging, and he's not happy with his swing decision there. And so that'll turn the lineup over. We'll see if Mr. Drifter can get something going here in the top of the ninth. Mullins 0 for 3 on the day, pops the first pitch foul and out of play. Last. Let's see if Mullins can get something going as the crowd is beginning to get on its feet here at Goss Stadium. 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike three. Cooper Mullins down on strikes. And Drifters have fallen to the Knights 3-0 in the first of a three-game set between these two. There's a pitching duel from both sides. Caden Harris with a nice start. Went 5 innings, allowing those 3 runs, had a strikeout and 2 walks. Really efficient outing for him. Just 78 pitches over 5 innings. And Sonny Pena looked fantastic, getting 2 called strike 3s in his inning of work in the 6th. And then the newest Drifter, Ezra James, worked 2 scoreless frames, allowing just 3 hits to close out the ballgame for the Drifters. But For the Knights, it was Bryce Hill who came in and looked unhittable, going 4 innings while striking out 8 for the number 154 draft prospect. And then he was followed up by Jack Galanito, who worked 2 2/3, allowing just 2 hits, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. Matthew Kazderico worked a 4-out hold, striking out 2 as well. And then Trey Swigart struck out the side in the 9th to end the ball game. Be right back on the Drifters streaming network for the post-game show. Well, a 3-0 loss for the Drifters puts them in a position they haven't been in quite some time, losing the first of a 3-game set. I apologize for the fireworks here. Absolutely beautiful here at Goss Stadium. They're 9-19 now on the year, while Corvallis moves to 14-14. I'm going to spare you the earful of the fireworks on the Drifters Radio Network. We'll see you tomorrow at 6:35 for Game 2 of this 3-game set.